Right out of the gate, I'm not going to hide my opinion on this one. The Honda J-series V6 is a phenomenal family of engines and is the gold standard that I hold all other naturally aspirated V6 engines to. They came in an incredible number of vehicles, they're dead reliable, and to top it all off, they make very respectable power per liter. Introduced in 1996, the J-series was Honda's new, smaller successor to their C-series V6, which powered the legendary Honda NSX. Because the J-series was intended as a primarily front-wheel drive application, Honda reduced the angle from 90 to 60 degrees for a more compact package. All J-series use a rubber timing belt, which you need to replace every 100,000 miles or you risk malice in the combustion palace. They also have manual valves, which need to be checked and have their clearances adjusted around the same time as that timing belt. The adjustment job is very straightforward to take care of, aside from being a bit tedious. I would recommend buying a jam nut tool to make things easier. These days, the most common J-series engines you'll see kicking about will be J30s, J32s, and J35s, so we'll briefly take a look at each model, as well as what kind of Facebook marketplace baddies you can find them under the hood of.
My body's telling me yes, baby. I don't wanna hurt.
The 3-liter J30 with 210 horsepower and 200 pound-feet of torque has powered higher trim Accords and Odysseys since its debut, but in 2003 things got interesting. Additional cam profiles in the VTEC system and a bump in compression ratio gave the J30A4 242 horsepower and 212 pound-feet of torque. The Accord that debuted the J30A4 was the 7th generation Accord in the 2003 model year. While the previous generation Accord's problematic transmissions caused many to have reliability concerns, the new 5-speed automatic was far more reliable than its predecessor. A pro tip from this former 5-speed automatic owner is to add a transmission cooler, and change the filter located under the battery tray. I bought my Accord with 250,000 miles, and happily romped on it for tens of thousands of trouble-free more miles before selling it. From VIP builds to crazy fast street monsters like CM6 Nighthawk and Halferland Performance's Bertha, these Accords have serious potential for tuners.
Still running pretty low timing, and the fueling was a little off, so let's
The J32 is only 200 cc's bigger than the J30, but another increase in the compression ratio and the accompanying switch to higher octane gas meant the power jumped to 270 horsepower and 238 pound-feet of torque. The fast-revving, lively-feeling J32A3 came in the 3rd generation Acura TL, which has long been revered by enthusiasts for its timeless looks, stellar reliability, and aftermarket support. Although it's easy to dismiss the TL as an Accord in a suit, the suspension and driving feel of the Acura offer a far different experience to a same-year Accord, even discounting the power difference. The J35 is up next, and this engine designation actually covers a huge spectrum of engines. There's the longer stroke J35A4 for applications like the Pilot and Odyssey, making only 240 horsepower but a much healthier 242 pound-feet of torque for moving the heavier vehicles around hilly terrain. Then there's the high-compression Acura J35A8, making 286 horsepower and 256 pound-feet of torque to haul the TL Type S to 60 miles an hour in just 5.5 seconds. The other Acura that got the J35 was one of my favorite Acuras ever made, the RL. The RL and its later evolution, the RLX, are awesome luxury options that are classy and comfortable. Just watch out for that 3.7 in the RLX. In an effort to decrease emissions, Honda equipped the poor J37 with low-tension piston rings, which invariably get clogged with engine gunk and consume an incredible amount of oil. like more than a quart per 1,000 miles, until the engine is re-ringed with the updated part number. Sorry J37, I guess you were just too cool to live.
Alright, let's see what happens. It's fucked.
The other piston ring related issue in select J-series relates to the only serious flaw these engines have, the VCM system. Variable cylinder management, or VCM, works by strategically cutting fuel and closing the valves of the front cylinder bank, allowing the pistons to travel in the cylinder without firing, but also without air resistance, turning the V6 into an inline 3 to conserve gas. The problem is, this vacuum in the combustion chamber forcibly pulls oil past the control rings, burning it off alongside the fuel when the engine resumes firing on all 6 cylinders. The oil control rings get worn down incredibly fast, with the uneven pressure and the stress caused by being forced up and down in the ringland by the vacuum and then the combustion. They also get filled with tiny carbon particles, making them even less effective at preventing the oil from slipping past and then getting burned off. Fortunately, there are plenty of aftermarket options to turn off VCM, although an engine with severely worn oil control rings will require a rebuild. The other good news is VCM wasn't in plenty of J-series, and all the cars that we've went over so far were among those spared from this grisly fate. I think that's about it. In my experience, and the proof uploaded by countless amazing content creators, the J-series is one of the most stout engines that you can get in a slew of really reliable body styles, from SUVs to sport coupes. They've been swapped into everything from Civics to CRVs and dune buggies, and taken very well to supercharging, turbocharging, and nitrous. It's also a great look back to see how Honda evolved this engine so much over its life cycle, re-engineering the entire top end of the J30 and playing around with displacement and compression ratio to make it ideal for every new platform it found itself in. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have a suggestion for an engine you'd like me to cover, let me know. Otherwise, see you next time.